Okay, welcome back, everyone. I'm going to get started with this next topic of how to determine if you have attained enlightenment. This is something that you're going to need to know. By the time you get to enlightenment, you'll know that you've attained enlightenment. But I don't suggest that you ever convince yourself that you've attained enlightenment, because on the way to enlightenment, your ego is going to still be in there trying to convince you that you're more enlightened than you really are. And if you ever convince yourself that you're enlightened, but you're not actually enlightened, you're going to miss those situations where your mind has certain kind of symptoms or certain kind of issues. You're going to overlook those. So as your mind gets to enlightenment, I'll give you a shorthand before I even go into any of this, is if you're not experiencing discontentedness for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to know that you're enlightened. You're going to know the mind's enlightened because you haven't had any anger, any sadness, any frustration, not even the little bit of ickiness in the mind for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. But what led you to that point is that you cultivated a tremendous amount of wisdom about the path to enlightenment and these natural laws. You had to learn, you had to reflect, independently verify, and you had to practice in order to be able to get that wisdom that led to your enlightenment. And having acquired the wisdom that it took to be able to get to enlightenment, you've solved the biggest problem that you've ever faced ever, which is this discontent mind. You've become a really good problem solver by that point. And this cultivation of wisdom that led to this monumental thing, which is the elimination of discontentedness, you're not going to just stop cultivating wisdom because you're now experiencing enlightenment. Your mind's performing optimally by this point. You have focus, concentration, clarity, deep memory. You've seen how over a multiple year journey of cultivating wisdom, it led to this amazing thing, which is enlightenment. There's plenty of other things in the world to cultivate wisdom about. It's not just the path to enlightenment. So let's just say that you've gotten to enlightenment, your mind's performing optimally now, and you're like, you know what? I've always been interested in learning how to fly a helicopter. I think I'm going to go learn how to fly a helicopter, right? And that might be what you decide to do because your mind's now performing optimally, and you've seen that cultivation of wisdom has led you to this elimination of discontentedness. So if you just always cultivate wisdom for the rest of your life, you're always going to be successful because you're gaining more and more wisdom about the world and about life. And you're going to need that for the path to enlightenment. But there's other things to cultivate wisdom about too. Maybe learning how to fly a helicopter, right? So I'm going to teach you guys how to determine if you've attained enlightenment. But I suggest that you don't ever convince yourself that your mind's actually enlightened, and just stay dedicated to learning and practicing the teachings for the rest of your life and just continue to cultivate wisdom. It's not like you get to enlightenment and you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to meditate anymore, right? You've been doing this work for multiple years. You've seen how your meditation has led to this improvement of your life. It's not like you cross a finish line and someone gives you a certificate and they say, now I'm enlightened, and you go retire somewhere in an easy chair. This isn't the way enlightenment is. It's like you're now performing as an optimal human being, a perfect human being. Your mind's now functioning optimally. You're going to be involved in society. You're going to be doing activities. You're going to be involved in day-to-day things. And when you're not being angry and bitter and harsh and hostile anymore, you're not feeling miserable and grumpy and irritable, you're going to get all this time back in your life where you can actually do things in the world. Whereas if you think about a given day, if you're awake for 12 or 16 hours a day, if you're spending 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day being grumpy and miserable, that takes up a lot of time. By the time you get to enlightenment, you're going to have all this time coming back to you to do all these different things. And you'll notice that you're much more productive in the world. Not like nose to the grindstone productive, but you're just making wise decisions and moving through life and accomplishing various things. Sometimes, Charlotte asked me at break, she was like, I don't see how you do this. You got videos about so many different topics and podcasts, and some people say you're a father too, and you're a husband, and you write these books and see students personally, and you travel and you do all these things. I'm just doing it slowly but surely. I'm not busy. I'm just active, right? I'm just involved in doing these things, and I'm making wise decisions. So there's never anything unwholesome for me to clean up. I don't have to go back and clean up anything because you're only making wise decisions in your day-to-day life. So these are some of the things that you can understand that a mind is going to be experiencing. Okay. So here, these are how you can understand about how to determine if you've attained enlightenment. If you've attained enlightenment, you'll never stop practicing the teachings. Never. By the time you get to enlightenment, it's like you've upgraded the operating system of your mind, and your mind can't function any other way but to practice right speech. Your mind physically can't be angry and bitter and harsh and hostile. You physically can't yell at people with anger. It's just impossible for the mind to do it, right? So you'll never stop practicing the teachings. Every single factor of the Eightfold Path will be dialed in to perfection, and you'll be practicing it perfectly. And it'll be effortless by the time you get to enlightenment. On your way to enlightenment, it's kind of cumbersome. Like when you upgrade the operating system of your computer, the first few weeks, it's like, where did they put those icons? Where is that setting? Where is this setting? You're trying to figure everything out, and it feels a bit cumbersome. But after about 2 or 3 weeks, you're like, whoa, this is so much easier. I'm really glad that they upgraded the operating system. This makes so much more sense the way they did it now, right? It's the same thing with your mind. It'll be a bit cumbersome, and you might stumble a little bit on your way to enlightenment. Of course, you're going to stumble maybe a lot a bit on your way to enlightenment. But once you actually get there, you're practicing effortlessly. So you'll never stop practicing the teachings because you've seen that they've led to this very beneficial result, which is the elimination of discontentedness. You'll be fully practicing the Eightfold Path, which includes the 3 universal truths, the 4 noble truths, and the 5 precepts. You'll be practicing this to perfection fully. You'll be practicing, when you fully attain enlightenment as an arahant, you will have eliminated the 10 fetters. You'll know what each one of those 10 fetters are. You'll know what the symptoms of them are. You will know how to eliminate them, and you will know how to determine that you've actually eliminated them. And you'll be able to know what those are. You'll have fully eliminated them in the mind. You will have cultivated a mind that is completely practicing the Brahma Viharas. These are 4 healthy mental states that you learn in this first book in chapter 14. This is called the 4 healthy mental states, or the Buddha referred to them as the Brahma Viharas. What this is 4 mental states that you're going to need to cultivate, which remedy certain problems in your mind. The 4 healthy mental states are loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. This is going to transform your mind away from things like anger and hatred, around indifference, around jealousy and envy, around a shaken up and distracted mind. These qualities are going to take your mind away from that and transform it. So you'll be practicing the Brahma Viharas, or these 4 healthy mental states. You'll also be practicing the 7 factors of enlightenment. Those 7 factors that we talked about, where you lift your mind up out of the sluggish condition, where you're practicing investigation, energy, and joy, and you're bringing the mind out of the excited condition, where the mind's practicing tranquility, concentration, and equanimity, and then you're practicing mindfulness. Well, by the time you get to enlightenment, you're actually practicing all 7 at all times, that you're always practicing all 7. But on your way to enlightenment, you're going to need to use the 3 to lift it up and the 3 to calm it down. But eventually, once your mind's in the middle, you'll just be practicing all 7 at all times. And you'll know you have attained enlightenment for yourself because you will have eliminated 100% of all discontentedness. That's the indicator. When it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, no discontentedness in the mind whatsoever, not even the slightest ickiness, you'll know that your mind is enlightened. And this is the big indication for you. And at that point, you will know that not only is your mind enlightened and you're now no longer experiencing discontentedness, you're no longer going to experience rebirth either. You're not going to be coming back into the world to experience it over and over and over and over again. Now, there are certain positive things about life, but if you don't need to come back and experience the grief and the sadness and the sorrow and the misery, it's better not to come back, right? Because if there's birth, there's going to be sickness, aging, and death, sorrow, grief, pain, displeasure, and despair. If a being is born, they're going to experience these things. There's no way around it. There's going to be sickness, aging, and death, sorrow, grief, pain, displeasure, and despair. But by the time you get to enlightenment, now your mind's not experiencing the sorrow, grief, pain, displeasure, and despair anymore. You'll still experience sickness, aging, and death, but you won't have any ill feelings about this. You won't be shaken up about it. You'll just understand it's part of impermanence and it's normal. So it won't affect your mind. But if there's birth, if a being is brought into the world, then they're going to experience these things. So you can actually escape out of that by training your mind and getting to the point where the mind's peaceful and joyful. And having gotten to enlightenment, you're going to be like, wow, I can do this, right? The unenlightened mind, there was like a certain amount of misery and despair. But by the time you get to enlightenment, it's like, whoa, why can't all of life be like this? This is wonderful. Like, you can do this. This is enjoyable. So you'll enjoy the rest of your life in that enlightened mental state. And you'll have confidence, and you'll know that you're not coming back to this world ever again, because you're not going to experience birth in the cycle of rebirth, because you've learned what you need to learn, and now you've escaped all of this cycle of rebirth. Okay, so any questions on any of this? How to determine if you've attained enlightenment? Let me see if we have any questions online. Okay. Hello to everyone online. Just checking. All right, I don't see any questions there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is move into these other kind of brief little talks. The first one is how to integrate the teachings into your life, because once you've learned a certain amount of teachings in a course like this, then the next step is, well, to really get the most benefit out of it, you need to integrate what you've learned into your day-to-day life. If you've just come to a course for 5 days, you hear a bunch of things, you do some meditation, okay, great, you had fun, but it's when you're integrating the teachings into your life that's where the real impact is coming from. So I've got some tips here for you of how to integrate what you've been learning into your day-to-day life. The first thing is it's advisable to attend weekly classes, either in person or online, and attend in-depth courses and programs and retreats like this on an as-needed basis. That occasionally throughout your year, you'd probably like to be doing a course or a retreat, 2 or 3 or 4, or whatever you can work into your schedule here and there to really kind of get really in depth with the particular teachings. But on a weekly basis, you can be attending things like our group learning program or our Pali Canon English study group, where each Sunday and Wednesday, we have a group learning program where at 9 a.m. Thai time or 9 p.m. Thai time, I teach for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, where we start with meditation and then I go into a talk. And the group learning program just restarted. So this Sunday, we're going to be starting on chapter 1 of this book. So we're going to go chapter by chapter by chapter over the next 6 months, essentially. And I'm going to go through the entire book to help you develop a foundation. So depending on where you live, that could be Saturday evening and Sunday morning, right? Because it's our time here in Thailand. So you have 2 options. You can attend classes either of those times. So no matter what time zone you're in, there should be a live class available for you. And you can attend through Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom. And when you can't attend live, they're all recorded, so you could watch it at your own pace through YouTube or through our podcast or something like that. You could easily do that. Okay, so that's the options of the group learning program. And then once you've done the group learning program, you might decide you'd like to do the Pali Canon and English study group. That meets on Saturday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. And that's volumes 2 through volumes 13. And that's a 1.5-year program. And you can join that at any time, just like the group learning program. You can join it into it at any time because it's on a cyclical basis. It keeps going around and around and around. So if you'd like to join the Pali Canon English study group, that's where we study the original words of the Buddha in a more of a study group fashion. And right now we're in volume 4. We just started volume 4, and we basically cover 10 chapters a week. And that's Saturday morning and Saturday evening, but that might be Friday evening and Saturday morning, depending on where you live. Okay, so there's plenty of options for you to learn. You'd like to be reading this first book for sure, about 10 to 20 minutes a day. And then over time, as you read this book, you might decide to move into the other ones as well. That's going to really help you. If you sit down to read an hour or 2 or 3 a day, this is going to be a lot for you. This is like taking a big bite of pizza and trying to chew it and digest it. It's a lot harder to do that. Whereas if you're reading just 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, you get these little golden nuggets and you can think about it for a little bit. Right? There's going to be some situation that has occurred in your life, and then 3 or 4 or 5 days later, you happen to be reading the book, and it's like, oh my goodness, that's why that didn't go well for me, because I didn't do this thing that the Buddha was teaching. Wow, thank goodness I just read this. Or you're going to be reading, and then like 4 or 5 days from now, the same thing that you were just reading about actually happens, and you have the wisdom that you need to handle that situation. So if you just kind of trickle the teachings into your mind, since I know you guys like coffee, like drip coffee usually tastes really, really good, right? Because it's like dripping and it's like better quality oftentimes. So you'll be able to see that you'll be able to really drip the teachings into your life, and it's going to really help you. You'd like to develop a practice of generosity, to frequently give and share without any expectations of anything in return, such as your time, effort, energy, and resources. This regular practice, the Buddha teaches you to do this frequently, where you're frequently giving. He talks about it as a daily practice, right? And it doesn't have to necessarily be financial. You could be walking in the store and you see someone's behind you and hold the door, or somebody drops their wallet on the ground. Ma'am, you dropped this. This is yours. This is generosity, right? You can be doing these kinds of things. So I encourage you to find ways to practice generosity regularly throughout your day. It can be little 3 seconds here, 10 seconds there. It might be 10 minutes, 20 minutes here or there, but this is going to train your mind that things don't have to be satisfying to you. They don't have to be personally beneficial to you. That it's not just you that you're looking out for in the world, that you're looking out for other people, and that you share and you're willing to share your time, effort, energy, and resources. This is training your mind to let go, to enhance the quality of your mind. And because of that, you like to be sure that you're not having any expectation of anything in return. If you even expect a thank you from somebody, then you're not practicing pure generosity. You would like to get to the point where you don't even expect a thank you from somebody, that you're just purely doing this thing because you know it's enhancing the quality of your mind. Then you'd like to practice improving your moral conduct. There's certain moral conduct that you're probably doing right now through your speech or your actions or maybe your livelihood where you're maybe causing harm. If you're not practicing the Eightfold Path to perfection, then there's certain things you're doing maybe in certain relationships. You're speaking harsh or bitter or hostile. You're going to need to shut that down. It's kind of like if you allow this bursted pipe of oil to keep spilling water or spilling oil all over the place, it's just going to keep making a mess. So what the Buddha teaches you is to shut down the pipe, shut down that oil so that it doesn't keep spreading all over the world. So you like to shut down your moral conduct of any unwholesome things that you're doing, because as long as you're putting unwholesome conduct into the world, this is all going to just keep coming back to you. So you would like to improve your moral conduct based on the Eightfold Path. And remember, right intention is there too. That's going to help you to really bring in the right speech, right action, and right livelihood. So focusing on your moral conduct on a daily basis is going to help you to improve your practice. Then doing meditation. Meditation 2 or 3 times a day for 30 minutes or more, building up to taking time, maybe 6 months, a year, even 2 years to build up to this. So you're going to need 2 to 3 sessions for 30 minutes or more. And take your time. You don't have to rush. You don't have to force yourself, but you would like to gradually build up to this kind of practice. Okay. And then as you need help, you can seek guidance from a teacher to get help. That's going to be needed. You're not going to be able to just go read a bunch of books and get to enlightenment. You're not going to be able to watch a bunch of YouTube videos and get to enlightenment. You're going to need to have a relationship with a teacher to be able to reach out and get help from time to time. So as you would like to do that, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm pleased to help all of you guys. So any questions on this? By the way, this here where I talk about generosity, moral conduct, and meditation, this is what the Buddha teaches, as it's called the way of practice. So not only do I teach this, but the Buddha teaches it too. That he says on a day-to-day basis that you should be practicing generosity, giving and sharing. You should be improving your moral conduct and practicing meditation. These are the 3 things that you can be doing on a daily basis that's going to move you closer to enlightenment. So you'd like to pay close attention to those 3 things: generosity, moral conduct, and meditation. Okay. All right. So now in terms of continued support and how you can get access to all of these things to be able to continue to learn and grow and develop is from our website. There's books, audiobooks, videos, podcasts, and quizzes. The quizzes are at the end of each chapter of the book. It just kind of helps you to kind of confirm that you've learned what it is you need to learn. And you might even see some jokes in there too. I kind of put some jokes in the little quizzes. I don't actually look at the scores and see what people are scoring. It's only for your benefit to confirm that you've actually learned what you need to learn. So if you read a chapter and you watch a live class or you watch a video and then you take that quiz, then you'll have confidence like, I learned what I needed to learn. I got an 80 or 85 or a 90 or 100 or whatever you got. And it'll email you your responses. And like I mentioned, you'll probably see a few jokes in there too. So all these resources are available to you from our website. Then the in-person and online classes, courses, and retreats, you'll see those on the website too. It explains to you what's being offered, where, and what time. Most of those right now are here in Chiang Mai, but you'll find some other places too. Like I just went to Mexico. I just got back a few months ago. I'm getting ready to go to California here in a few months. So I'll be there. So if you see me around any place, I'll always be teaching at no cost. Everywhere I go, it's organized in such a way that people can join for no cost. So anytime you see me teaching, you're always welcome to come learn. And if you would like me to come to your country or your town, you can just let me know and we can talk, and then we can organize it, and I can come do classes in your area. So there's those in-person and online classes, courses, and retreats. Then there's these online and in-person ongoing programs. I already mentioned those, the group learning program and the Pali Canon and English study group. You can get details for those on our website or at these links. Then if you'd like to have personal discussions, you can ask in person to sit down, whether it's here in Chiang Mai or if I'm traveling somewhere and we're in the same town together. You can just say, hey, David, would it be possible to meet? And then we can organize and meet and we can get together. If you'd like to meet online through like Zoom, maybe you're in Taiwan or something like that, you just go to our website and you can schedule an appointment. It'll show you the times that are available, and then we just meet in Zoom, and then you'll be able to get the help you need. Because it's one thing learning in books and classes and things like this, but it's a whole nother thing relating it to your specific issues. So if you're having difficulties with a certain relative or a certain challenge at work or something like this, or you're trying to make some very big impactful decisions, or you're just reading and learning in the classes and you have some specific questions that are more personal in nature, that's what this is for. So you can schedule as much as you like. And then we have a Facebook group that you can go into and you can ask questions in there. There's essentially 4 ways to get help. You can ask questions in classes, you can post on our Facebook group, you can send private messages, or you can schedule personal guidance, and then we'll be able to talk. So this Facebook group is like an online classroom where students are asking questions and then I'm answering it. There's nobody else who's answering your questions. It's only me that is answering your questions. So you can go in there and you can ask questions if you like, but sometimes people like to go in there and read other people's questions and then read the answer, and then they actually learn through that way as well. So there's plenty of people who do it that way. So you can join this Facebook group if you like. And if you're not really into Facebook, you might just decide to open up an ID and just put like a flower or a rainbow or something like that. And you don't need to post anything personally on your profile, but maybe you just use that profile to come into this Facebook group, and that's all you actually use it for. There's some students who do it that way. Okay. So all of this is offered openly and freely. It's all available at no cost. Even the personal guidance, you can get help at no cost. Okay. So any questions on continued support and how to continue to learn? No? Okay. So what I'll do then is I'll just end class by thanking all of you guys for joining. Thank you for all your efforts to come and learn and understand what I'm sharing with you. If you've practiced any generosity with me, I really thank you for that, because that helps me to help you when you guys are practicing generosity. I never have an expectation for a student to practice generosity with me. But I just would like you to know that I really appreciate that any generosity, because I know you guys have brought me drinks and fruit and purchased food for me and things like this. So thank you for helping to sustain my life so that I can continue to help you. If you'd ever like to learn, you're more than welcome to come here or any other place that I'm teaching or join online. You're always welcome to learn and grow and develop. I'm pleased to help all of you as you journey on your path to enlightenment. I'd like to share something with you guys that's going to be going on here over the next several weeks. And if you guys would like to participate, you're more than welcome. That the Thai people have created this network of temples all throughout their country. There's over 30,000 temples here in Thailand that are actually active. And the way that I think about it is I think about it like a national resource, that over the last 800 to 1200 years, the Thai people have created this resource that is like essentially a mental health network that is self-funded, and everybody can go into the temple and anybody can find somebody that can help them. And it's available to you at no cost. All throughout the country, they have this available, where it's almost like the womb of a woman. The temple is like the womb of a woman, where it's the perfect environment for an individual to grow and develop and become a better and better human being. The womb of a woman is the perfect place for a being to grow and develop, and so is the temple. So for you guys, you've been coming to this temple on a daily basis, and then you go home, and this is the perfect place for you to grow and develop. And the way that this womb gets created is by all of us, that we choose to create this womb so that people have the ability to come in and out of the womb anytime they would like to learn and grow and develop. So the Thai people have entrusted us with this classroom over the last several years, and there's been some very generous students who have made some offerings to be able to help us refurbish this classroom. We're going to be upgrading all the bathrooms and creating a storage room and a office. We're going to be redoing the wood floor. We're going to be redoing the lighting in the electric and putting in windows and all kinds of things to make this place look even better than it already does. And then that way, not only can we enjoy that, but the next generation will have a really nice facility to be able to use for them to learn and grow and develop. So we're contributing to the creation of this womb so that many people can enter into this womb and exit out of this womb. And we've already started this work upstairs. You guys might have heard at the beginning of the week, we were installing some tiles upstairs because the floors were leaking upstairs. So we put in new tiles upstairs so that we don't get any leaking down here when we upgrade downstairs. So on Monday, they're going to be starting here. They're going to be starting the work here. So on Sunday is the last day that I'm going to be teaching here in this classroom, and then I need to move upstairs, and I'm going to teach up there for about a month, and then we're going to move back down here into our new facility that's completely upgraded. So what I would like to offer you guys the opportunity to do, if you would like, it's up to you, is that as a class, we could go upstairs and kind of see what the status is of things upstairs and maybe do a little bit of light cleaning to kind of prepare it so that this Sunday at the end of class, that the students could help move everything upstairs, and then that way we'll be set up and ready to start teaching next week upstairs. And then maybe we even do some light cleaning down here as well, because I noticed the bathroom is getting pretty dirty, and maybe over the weekend the people who are coming in, it'd be nice if they had a nice place to be able to enjoy the bathrooms, because we've all been here all week and we've been using the facility. This classroom doesn't belong to me. It doesn't even belong to the Thai people. It's something that people have created over multiple years. This temple's been here for over 500 years. This building has been here for a little bit over 50 years, but it doesn't belong to any one person. It's all of us contributing that creates this womb and allows people to come and learn and grow and develop. So there was people before you that provided things to be able to make it easier for you to learn and grow and develop. So everything you see around you was offered by some student, like the projector or the screen, the carpet, the meditation cushions, the air conditioning. All of this is offered by students. When I first started teaching here, there was no air conditioning. I would be sitting here meditating and I could feel the sweat under my clothes rolling down the body, just sitting here meditating. It was so hot during the hot season. And we eventually installed air conditioning, right? So this is all students that have said, hey, what I got here was really valuable. Let me share, let me help. And this is what we've got. Like slowly but surely, we've been upgrading this facility. So if you guys would like to get involved in this, you can stick around and I'll share with you guys the things that I'm going to be doing just to kind of prep upstairs and get this place ready for the weekend. I'd appreciate your help, but I don't expect your help. I'm not asking you, I'm not wanting you. You're not forced to help, but if you would like to, this is an option that you guys can practice some generosity if you'd like to, but it's up to you. If you guys would like to go out to lunch afterwards and maybe have a group lunch, we could do that. I could kind of offer some suggestions of where we could go that have a really nice wide menu of options for all of us to eat. That might be something you guys would like to do. But essentially from this point, the class is over, the course is over. Thank you for all your questions and your interest to learn, and perhaps we'll see you guys in a future learning event. Okay? Be well and take care. Sawadee Khap.